Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we're going to talk about the new blue Boujack support, which I'm really excited for. It's one of my favorite archetypes in the game. It's something that I've been playing for a while, taking it to tournaments and to like premiere events and such, and I'm really excited to be able to dust off the cards, re-sleeve them, and be able to kind of play them again. So we have 3 new promo cards that we're going to talk about, as well as an example deck list as well. I haven't 100% tested the list either. I'm going to probably be testing it the next couple weeks, so the link will probably be updated to the list that I finalized on. It might be different than the end of the video one, but I think it's in a good spot, and it's definitely worth testing and seeing just how good it is right now. But going over our 3 new cards, we are going to start off with the Zongya Beautiful Slayer. It's a 2-cost Z battle card with 1 Z energy. And it has barrier, 10k, audio, limit 1 if your leader is a Boujack Brigade. It could be the yellow one as well. And all your energy is blue. When this card's played, place 1 blue Boujack Brigade card from your hand in your energy in rest mode. So it ramps you, which is incredibly powerful, especially in a deck like this. That one, you really actually care what cards are in your energy, because you can use your energy as another combo once per turn. And then also, when you combo stuff from your energy, you get some bonuses, and just everything from that's great, as well as we kind of sometimes need to get to 4 energy as soon as we can. That way we can drop our unison and we can awaken, and especially with this deck where we can awaken early because of it. It's great. It's just a great thing to do, and it's definitely worth doing this. Like, this would be obviously any ramp in this game is really kind of tough to come by, and so to be gifted a Z ramp card with like this, I think is great. And then also it has auto KO. This card, when you play a blue Boujack card, that card gains barrier until the end of your opponent's next turn, which is good in its own right. And I could be wrong, you guys could let me know in the comments, but if you play a card on your opponent's turn, you could KO this, give it barrier, and then it's until your opponent's next turn. So it would be your opponent's current turn, and then your turn, and then the end of your opponent's next turn. I don't know if that's, I know the wording is weird and the rulings are different. If that's wrong, let me know, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works based on the wording. But it could just be until the end of your opponent's current turn if it's played on your opponent's turn. Either way, giving your characters barrier like this is cool. You're not ever probably going to be swinging with this unless you really need to, and so that's great. And also, sometimes, like if you just need to go for an attack for game and you want to be protected, a 2-drop with barrier and then you just go to swing in isn't terrible either. It's very flexible of a card, and again, being able to play this on turn 2 and then on turn 3 to have 4 energy to play a unison, to be able to not only get a unison out early, but also to be able to awaken early with this leader, I think is really strong. So really like this card. It's probably the best of the 3, and I'm really glad we got it. Next up, we have Boujack Space Pirate Captain. It's a 4-drop, 1. It has, all of these have the 1-cost energy for their combo. The leader gets rid of that, if you guys remember, so it's not really a big deal as long as you're playing inside the archetype. It's a 20k double strike for 1 blue. If you have 3 more energy at the end of battle when you use this card from your hand or energy in a combo, you may play this card from your drop, which is nice. And also, when your opponent attacks, use 1 mono blue Boujack Brigade in your energy in a combo. If you do, add the top card of your deck to your energy. So the nice thing about this card is that it's not, one, it is a limit 1, and the timing is based on your opponent attacking. So if they have a way to get rid of this card before you're able to use the effect, it's kind of rough there. But you do get like a free combo with it. Also, the energy you get is when you put a card back and from the top of your deck into your energy, it's active. So like you get an untap 1 and a combo with this for free. Again, there's no protection on this card, and it has to be when your opponent's attacks, but I think all that is really great, especially because this could be with the leader effect. So if you're tapped out and they attack, you could use this Boujack effect to combo something, put an energy in active mode, and then use your leader effect to pay 1 blue to discard a card to untap 4. So that is like a nice little combo you can do with that. Another way for you to get more energy for this deck. So I like all of that with it. It's just fine, though. I don't think it's like obscene. I don't think you'd run this card at 4, probably a 2 or 3 of, but it is a good card for the deck. And it's like a double strike that you get to play for 1, which is nice too. So that's also not too terribly difficult to ask for either. So do like the card. Not as, again, like the Zangia is probably the best by and large, but these other cards are pretty good support. And then lastly, Gokua, Cunning Slayer. He's probably a little bit better than Boujack, but for, again, pretty much same stats. Auto for 1 at the end of battle when you use this card from your hand or energy. In a combo, you may place this card from your drop, and then also auto limit 1. When this card is played, you may place 1 blue Boujack Brigade from your hand in your energy in rest mode. If you do, place 1 of your energy in your drop, and if your opponent places 1 card from their hand to the bottom of their deck. So it pretty much just cycles your energy. It's flexible for what you're doing too, because when you play this deck, something that you don't really recognize is that you want to be able to use your leader effect every turn, yours and your opponent's, which means that you have to be able to get these Boujack cards into your energy. So sometimes like you get like a weird non-Boujack card in your energy that you want to be able to cycle through, which you can do with this card, and it just helps out a lot. So, and being able to make your opponent like go -1 can sometimes be a big deal, and just everything else with it. So I think he's fine too. I don't think he's necessarily a 4 of. I think he's like, again, like a 2 or 3 with it. Both of these I think are good support cards for the archetype. And again, like just being able to have more cards that are Boujack Brigades that you do get to play for free that are, 20Ks for 1 are still very, very strong for the deck. So these are the 3 new cards, and let's go to the deck list that I've been working on. So here is my current list of blue Boujack. This is obviously a deck I'm going to be testing more over the next couple weeks. So if I make any like big radical changes, I'll probably make a post on my Facebook and I'll link it to the pinned comments. So if there's like an updated link to this list, make sure to check the comments for that for just kind of weeks of testing. But in general, I think this is a great list to kind of just start looking at the archetype again and kind of going into seeing what this deck does before kind of changing what you want the top end or what your win conditions and just so forth. So in general, leader, reduce the combo cost by 1 of all blue Boujack, so that just means they're all 5k combos in this deck, which is great. Activate battle, you get to use 1 mono blue Boujack in your energy in a combo, and then replace the top card of your deck into your energy in rest mode. And then awaken when your life's at 3 or less, or you have a blue unison specified cost of 4 in play, you get to draw 2, untap 1, which is nice. If this was draw 1, untap 2 though, this would be super duper good, but the draw 2 is good because inherently we don't draw on the front side. And then same stuff on the back for the permanent, and activate battle. And then you also have an auto once per turn for 1. You can choose 1 card in your hand, discard it. If you only have blue card, you can only activate blue card skills from your hand, and you can't activate counters for the turn. When your opponent attacks, you switch 4 mono blue to active mode. So it's untap 4 to almost specifically be able to play this Boujack on a rampage from it, which is fine because this is a pretty good card for what it is, especially since we do get to give it barrier technically with Zangia if we need to, which is great as long as this card's out here, and we're just going to kind of go from there. Also, I should have mentioned this earlier too. Side deck are just like alternative cards to kind of run. We're not running 2 secret rares. These are just alternative cards. Don't tell me I have 2 secret rares in my deck. Also, like, I don't know how I feel about extra cards in this deck. I've played this deck a while, and it feels like a trap a lot of the time because you don't really want your extra cards because they really clog up your energy and like your combos, and you're cycling a lot, but obviously you do want counters. So I don't know. We'll kind of talk about it. So basically what you want to do with this deck, turn 1, you want to play probably Gokua is probably the best in the deck. You'll be able to look top 3 for a Boujack Brigade or a Unison. I don't know if 6 Unisons is enough. We always want to see this either turn 3 or 4. So we have 4 Majin Boos, which are honestly, if this deck, I know Unisons are not as strong as they used to be, and that's fine, but this Majin Buu, strictly to say, I get to awaken by playing this card and untap, draw 1, and have a double strike blocker 20k is still fine. Even if it just goes away your next turn, it's fine because it lets you awaken for the turn, and that's good enough for me. So, okay for what we're doing here. I'm also running the Super Saiyan Gotenks Absolute Unison. So it's a 20k dual attack blocker, which is great. And then for -2, you get to just draw 2 cards. So we're going to kind of be in a situation where we're going to have more energy than cards in our hand most of the time. So being able to have this Unison that not only can help us awaken, but also let us draw some cards is good. Also, it has a really great -3 of choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and place them at the bottom of their owner's deck. So that's already kind of like a draw 2 in its own way too, but you get to remove cards from your opponent's side of the board. So that's great. Also, so just the removal for this, I almost think like a 3-3 split would be needed, and I'd have to do more testing to see which ones I like more, but it's something to consider for this deck because we just need a 4-cost Unison, and if we're in a kind of time where Unisons are going to get wiped anyways, then this has like a lot more immediate value than Boo, who just gets more value as long as it stays alive. So I think that's something to consider there. So like that's like the kind of unison base for us. The basic gameplay for what we want to do is turn 1 again, play Goku to find one of these. Turn 2, we play Zangia every time. We can actually build Z energy in this deck really easily. We just have to be careful. Like, we have to make decisions of if we want to play cards from her when we combo for free every turn, or do we want to put them in our Z energy. So we have to kind of decide what we want on there. And that's good too. Galactic Buster also, it's restricted to this leader, but it's probably like one of the most busted blue cards in the game. It lets you just combo for free, and you get to draw a card, and it lets you untap a card too, right? So if you're tapped out, you can use Galactic Buster, combo with the card, put this in your energy in active mode, and then if you need more energy to do something else, you can do it, which is cool. And then at the end of the battle, you switch one of your energy rest mode. It's not a cost though, so if you use all your energy, nothing happens, which is cool. And you can time it too. So let's say you use this, you untap 1, so you have 2 energy. You could use the 2 energy to play the Boujack the Evildoer for 2, and then at the end, and then you decide to resolve the Galactic Buster, which means that you tap nothing because you're all tapped out. So that's just a cool sequencing thing you can do with this deck, and being able to get free energy, free combos, and it also draws a card is really, really it's stupid. There's a reason that's restricted to a somewhat lackluster leader, and it's crazy that it wasn't for a period of time. It was such a good card. So anyway, so that's turn 2, you go here, which means on turn 3 you have 4 energy, and then from there, in my opinion, you have a decision. If you want to be really, really greedy, you play a second one, and then that means on turn 4 you'll have 6 energy, which means then you can play Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta Rise of a Super Warrior, which means that you get to play this. You get to ramp 4 for free, and then you get to play your Unison for 4, and then you get to awaken and untap 1. So all of that seems really good for the deck, because ramping not only is great, but when half your cards that you ramp are probably already going to be cards that you want to combo with from your leader effect and do free stuff with, that just means that you don't really have to charge for most of the rest of the game after you play this one Vegeta, which means if you play a second one the next turn, you get to just straight up draw 4 cards. So that's the idea for the deck. So you can also do that, like turn 3 you play this, and then on turn 5 you still play Vegeta, which is still a really good turn 5 play for us, and I think that's strong. Secret Rare, we're deciding to use Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Son Goku just because we're going to have so much energy anyways. It just means that you get, like, this essentially lets you take a second turn, and there's a lot of stuff for us to use our energy for, especially since we're also playing Turning the Tide. I don't know, like, the more I look at this deck, the more of it's just like an alternative way to play the blue Beerus leader, but Beerus, I think, is in a good spot right now, and Turning the Tide is stupid in this deck because we're going to probably be at low hand sizes anyways, so we're not going to be really punished for, like, discarding our entire hand on defense. When we have 6 energy, because turn 7 we'll just play Turning the Tide. We'll get rid of all of their cards in their hand, and then we still have cards in our hand because we can still combo with Boujack cards. So that's really good. There's also combinations where we could play, like, we could play some cards and then play Kaioken Son Goku and then going to Turning the Tides, and then your opponent's just kind of out of luck. And that's just like a really, really good end condition and win condition for the deck there. So also, Galactic Buster can combo anything in our energy with a one cost. So it can be, we can combo with Golden Avenger, we can combo with Aandroidd 17, we can even combo with Secret Rare if we really need to, but I don't think you should, but it is an option for you there. The only actual negate in this deck we have right now is Dirty Burst, and I know that feels wrong, and it feels wrong just saying that, but this is a flexible card, and I don't really think we need that many blockers, but like negates, hard negates, but I could be wrong. I think Dirty Burst is a good card because it's flexible and it can be card draw. We're going to be kind of flexible in our energy too, so being able to pay 2 to draw a card in our opponent's turn is fine. And the only thing is that you can't play counter skills with this leader effect. I don't think we're playing this honestly too much either, but there we go. I think that's most of the main cards. Sun Gohan Power Reclaimed, probably like a good alternative card for the auto once per turn because we do get to just play this and then pop something. So if your opponent's trying to go in with something without barrier, you can just Power Reclaim it and get rid of it. Though obviously we already kind of have that with our big 8-drop Boujack too, because it gets rid of something, but it's at the end of battle. So if we need something current battle, that's fine. And even just comboing this and paying 1 blue to get rid of something 5 or less, putting this into our Z energy isn't too bad. And it's a 20k triple attack, which is cool. It's a cool card. What else? I think it's the main core of the deck. Again, like this card is really good in the deck because worst case, like drawing 4 in a deck like this that doesn't draw a lot of cards anyways is great, especially because Godsealing Trunks isn't in the game anymore. So this is almost like it's very, very like your opponent's going to have to find new ways to not let this go off, which is usually trying to kill you early. So that's there. Z deck, pretty standard. I don't think we need to resolve more than 2 Zangias in a game, so we only have 2 there. Beerus, we have 2 because if we have a lot of extra energy, this could be a great way to get rid of cards with barrier for 4 energy, which isn't too costly for us in the grand scheme of things, and it does some pressure. Cell, when your opponent goes wide, and it's a crit, which is nice for ending the game with like a Aandroidd 17 effect. This is Vegeto's just fine. It's a triple strike, barrier, blocker, deflect, and it gets rid of something, and it makes your opponent discard 1. And that's it. Like, it's pretty standard Z deck. I don't think that's too crazy. And I think that's the main stuff for the deck. Hatch is like a good backup if you're afraid of being like blown out early. This is a good card for the deck. I don't think Beast Gohan is... I think Kaioken's better than Beast Gohan in this deck, but you guys could differ. There are just a bunch of other blue Boujack cards we didn't really talk about. I really like this guy. If you can find room for it, go for it. I also really like Rose Goku Black, just because, like, worst case, you pay 1 energy to draw a card and you can pop something. I would probably... This would be, like, the next card I try to find room for in the deck if I wanted to. Just because, like, he's almost never dead. We can build a lot of Z energy if we need to also, and I think he's cool. This is, like, a good counterattack because, like, worst case, it can be a combo. It's a little outdated, but it's still fine. We're not running Dimension Magic because... I don't know, like, we could run more negates, and I really don't like to, because, like, I feel like it gets rid of stuff. If I was to play another negate, it might be not this Bujin, the Commando. This would probably be the next negate I put in, only because, like, it's flexible, and, like, worst case, we can just combo it away to draw more cards, but like, choosing 1 card in our hand to discard it to use it is kind of rough too. Borgos, if we want, like, a 1-drop to get more draw. Bean, if Bean let you, like, add, like, if Bean was an Aandroidd, we put in this deck for sure, because we have a bunch of dual attackers like the Boujack on a Rampage, or even like Kaioken, and even just the fact, like, if we wanted to have the best of both worlds, like on turn 3 when we have 4 energy, we could play the Majin Buu, we awaken, we draw a card, draw 2 cards and tap 1, we swing, we use Bean, and then we play a Zangia, which means we get to 6 energy on the turn 4, which means we can play like, all that seems great, right? But we can't do that anymore. So, and like the extra 5k, like, I don't know, like, it's not... Bean's really great when you have a bunch of extra cards in hand, and we don't really have that in this deck, so I don't think it's as necessary. I could be wrong. I might test and change it, but I don't know. Like, it's just you feel very kind of restrictive on what cards you can play in this deck, especially because in 2 senses. One, you need to run a lot of Bojacks, and because of that, you don't have a lot of room for a lot of other stuff, and it's kind of tight at times. But I don't know. We'll see. I know, again, I took out a lot of blue staples. Bean, Dimension Magic, and Chill Reinforcements are not in this. If you want to add them back in, I don't think it's a mistake, but I just don't immediately see the value on these based on just kind of how weird of a deck this is and how specific you need to have your energy at times. Being able to be more flexible and find the cards you need in your energy more consistently, I think, is strong there. So anyways, I think that's it for the deck. Let me know what you guys think about this. If you think it's trash and I'm being too crazy with removing staples, let me know. And any cards that I may have missed going over this deck, let me know too. But I think it's really cool. I think there's a lot of cool support for it, and it's something that's definitely worth rediscovering with kind of just how blue is right now and just the current meta. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know what other decks you guys want me to go over for these dash packs and going into BT20, and I'll catch you all next time.
Damn it. Damn it.